Two changes to the forward pack, who just fell short to New England last week, with Joaquin Horcada replacing Liam Murray at loosehead prop, and captain Hero Gomasvara will shift to lock in place of Damon Torres, making way for McKean Alican to come into flanker. In the backs, three changes, with Wandy Oliver returning to starting scrum half. Tommy Milano shows his versatility, moving to fullback in place of Nazareno Valentini, as Jason Tidwell gets promoted to start on the right wing today, and Connor Winchester as a late inclusion at inside centre.
Augustine Cavalieri's starting lineup brought to you by Energy Transfer. You look at the bench where he has Liam Murray and Damon Torres, each of whom got the starting nod last weekend as key reserves here today. How about for the visitors out of Chicago?
Only two changes to the pack, who lost to Nola in round 13, with George Merrick moving up to starting lock, replacing Ben Landry. So Mason Flesch will move from lock to the side of the scrum today. And Vice-Captain Luke White gets a breather on the bench as Connell Boomer gets his chance at number 8 for his 6th start of the season. And the backs are returning from the bye with three changes. Nick McCarthy replaces Jason Higgins at scrum half. There's no Julian Dominguez today, so Noah Brown will hold down the right wing spot. And Kian Meaden replaces Luke Carty to wear the fullback jersey.
Two teams who finished in the doghouse a year ago looking to ascend to the penthouse of the postseason here in 2024. They would double dip at the expense of Dallas, 29-28. Two victories last year for Chicago by a grand total of 3 points. Dallas looking to execute here at midfield. Oh, hitting that midfield line with some enthusiasm, but immediately met by the Hounds. Support out wide, down the near side. Jason Tidwell eyeing the prize, able to dot it down.
Chicago had no answer. It all started with that well-executed line out. Look at these bullet passes straight into the breadbasket of the runners on the advantage line. Again, quick movement. That decoy runner created some attraction, and that allowed the player around behind Igben before sending Tidwell off. And he had the pace to do it. Some cover defense, a valiant effort from Augsburger, but it was too little too late. Dallas with the try. Amazing stuff.
Next phase now slips through. They're about 8 meters out. Chicago knocking on the door. Meeks with an initial dummy. Is that a backwards pass? If it is, Chicago's back on the board. Mason Flesch with his third for the Canadian this year.
But let's bring it all the way back to a couple of phases before. Noah Brown refusing to give up. Shrugs one, not held. He knew he wasn't, so kept going, just pumping his legs for an extra 3 or 4 meters that gets Chicago in behind the Dallas defense. And now Dallas struggling to find their shape. Meeks with the vision over the top, flat pass.
And that one charged down by the captain. And Dallas will get it back in Hounds territory, looking to pounce immediately, looking for it to pay off dividends. Sam Tuifua.
Well, blink and you'll miss him. And didn't Chicago blink? A little charge down from the kick, and then a gap just opening up. It was Wandy Oliver, but the acceleration of Tuifua as he got the ball just left Chicago players for dead. And the dive as well, a spectacular finish. That clever little pass there, just holding it up, didn't force it at first. Oliver picked the perfect moment. He had Tuifua always on his shoulder, screen.
I say that, Dallas playing with advantage. Can they do it again? Oh, looking for a little deja vu. It'll stay with the Jackals here. Little kick and chase. Looking for an offensive renaissance here in North Texas.
Deft little kick, which ended up bouncing up perfectly. Let's not forget the play from Tuifua to get them into that position in the first place. Nobody home. Wandy Oliver sees that. That is not an easy kick to execute either. Somehow found its way through the Chicago defense. Poor old Nate Augsburger's doing his best as the last line of defense.
Still 3+ meters to go. Here's White, the vice captain, surging towards that line, but at the moment, fortunate for him, has not crossed the line as he's being held up. That means another phase for Chicago, and they are in. First points of the second half. As that ball has come loose a couple of times now. Chicago, can they pull within a score? You talked about it. Noah Brown making a name for himself here late. Little trick up his sleeve. He thought about it. That drop goal not available to him. Ball comes loose, and Dallas may have survived. They'll send one into touch. And for the first time, the Jackals win the win at the expense of the Hounds.
I'm speechless. You can hear it. What a finish. Held my breath the entire time. And you're right, Lincoln. You saw Carlson in the pocket, just needed to get close enough for the drop goal attempt.